Hey now, it's Brace for Impact, and I'm your host, Mike Gilbert, and I'm going solo on that ass, but it's still the same. We're talking Impact Wrestling. We've got a lot to talk about because we got Bound for Glory. Impact Wrestling will have you believe that Bound for Glory is their biggest pay-per-view of the year. I've been saying for the last few years, and I think numbers have been proving me right, that Slammiversary has kind of overtaken Bound for Glory, but this year feels a little bit different. This year feels like, man, we got something cooking with this Bound for Glory. We're sold out in Chicago. According to members of their staff, they're not wrestlers, but members of the staff, they are at capacity, and I don't know what capacity is for that facility, because at one point MLW was putting in over 2,000 people there, but Impact never really did that. I think they sectioned off that Cicero Stadium. So what capacity means, I don't know. I don't think they're going to get as many people as MLW used to get. Impact has a bigger production setup and all that, and so they have like a better hard cam setup than MLW did, so MLW could squeeze in a bunch of more people. But yeah, look, they're going to be sold out. It's going to be a really big time crowd for Impact, right? So we're talking Impact level here, and there's lots of stuff going on in the world of Impact Wrestling. And you know, last week whenever I did this show, I said the last fucking thing I wanted to do was talk about CM Punk. And guess what I got to talk about again this week, because we just cannot get this guy out of the news. Like he just he stays on everybody's mind. Impact is not doing anything to they're not doing anything to stamp the rumors that Impact is or that CM Punk is going to Impact. And they're not doing anything to crush the hopes and dreams of Impact fans that CM Punk would be showing up at Bound for Glory. Not like WWE did that. Like they actually went out of their way to tell people that he was not coming to WWE. Impact, they're not saying he's coming in, but they're not actually stomping out the rumors, right? And the rumors, there's no like legit rumor that he's coming. It's more like people openly talking about it, saying how cool it would be and how hopeful that they are. They're not doing anything to kind of stomp that out. And I don't know if that's going to be a good or a bad thing. We'll see what it's like whenever we get to the live show. If we get a bunch of CM Punk chants that end up, disappointing everybody. And I think that's the bad position that they put themselves in when they don't do that, is that if when they have the show and if he doesn't show up, then now there's going to be some people that created this expectation in their own minds, even though Impact did not outwardly do that. They're going to go into this show with an expectation that he's going to be there, and then he's probably not going to show up, and then they're going to leave disappointed. And you never want to leave members of your paying audience disappointed. Um, Now, whose fault will that be? Will it be the member of the audience who decided that he was going to be there, or decided that they were going to plop down their $40 in hopes that he would be there? Or is it Impact, who really have done nothing to start this rumor? They really haven't. Like they have been tweeting some stuff talking about, hey, look, we got a big surprise, but they didn't, you know. And I'll talk about that in a second. A lot of their staff has been saying that tomorrow's going to be tremendous. Dave Penzer was on Twitter saying, "Oh, get ready to get your tissues out because people are going to be in tears." They're so they're not doing anything to stamp out the rumor, but they haven't really done anything to say, hey, he's coming in. And so that's going to be the difficult situation. They did this a couple years ago when it got leaked to Mike Johnson that Braun Strowman and Impact officials of Scott D'Amore were having dinner, and they were openly talking about Braun Strowman coming in, and there were negotiations at one point to bring him in, and there was rumors running rampant that he was coming to Bound for Glory, and they didn't do anything to stomp those out. And a lot of us, and include specifically podcasters who were, excited about it. I personally am a Braun Strowman fan. I'm not a big shamer like a lot of modern wrestling fans are. I don't do that, but we were all in on him being there, and that was going to be a big moment for the company, because Strowman was a pretty big star in WWE at the time, and that would have been a good get for them. And I mean, maybe they dodged a bullet. I don't know. He's pretty banged up, but and then he never showed. And we got the Kiss Demon and Rocky Romero and Melina that year in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and we did not get the big surprise of Braun Strowman. So they by leaking that information to Mike Johnson and by doing nothing to stamp it out, a lot of people went into that show with a bunch of expectations that this big star was going to be there, and then we saw 3 lesser stars show up as surprises. So they're playing a dangerous game here, but it's like I'm kind of looking at it and I'm trying to see if at any point any of their social media or any of their posts or anything that they've said on television would lead anybody to believe that he's going to be there, and I haven't seen anything. Except now here's the kicker. Yesterday it was reported by Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is he, like, when Impact wants to get stuff out there, he's the guy that they typically go to. And he posted on PW Insider yesterday that Ace Steele is going to be getting a producer tryout. Now, I've seen articles on the different Impact sites, and I've seen them all over the place saying that Ace Steele has signed a contract. No, Mike Johnson said that Ace Steele is getting a producer tryout. And it was the same offer that they offered to him earlier this year whenever he was on the outs with the company. Or it might have been last year. I can't remember. But whenever he was on the outs with the company with AEW, they offered him the deal to come in and be a producer. And it was during the Chicago tapings. And he didn't come because he was still with AEW. They had let him go, but CM Punk negotiated to bring him back, and he was back. So yeah, they're bringing in Ace Steele, and I think that's cool. But because they're bringing in Ace Steele, the rumors that CM Punk's coming in are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Hold on, swig of coffee for the working man. Swig of coffee for all my friends and family that get up at 4:30 in the morning to get a hard day's work in. You know who you are, you construction workers and you convenience store and gas station workers and the overnight dancers and all the other brothers and sisters out there working hard. Swig of coffee for you guys. But yeah, so the rumors are still out there, and they're not going to stop until the episode's over. And then honestly, they're probably not going to stop until Punk ends up signing somewhere. I'll be honest, I was like 90% positive that he was not going to be at Bound for Glory and that he will never come to Impact. But now they've signed his legitimate best friend. Not signed. Now they're bringing in his legitimate best friend for a job. And they got one of his other big-time best friends, Lou D'Angelo, still as an executive for the company. And, they got these big production overhauls, and 2024 is supposed to be a big year for them. It would only make sense if they're looking to go bigger. There's no bigger way to go than bringing in one of the top draws in all of wrestling. He is a troublemaker. He might end up tanking the whole company. But if you don't take big swings, you never hit home runs. And this would be it right here. Like, this is their moment. And then at the same time, come this January, you got several, decently named talents from WWE coming available. And then in February, you got Ospreay. So, Impact has an opportunity here to take some big swings, change the trajectory of their company, and get firmly solid into the ground. Number 3, despite, and I have high hopes for NWA on CW. I'm probably going to start watching NWA again once they go to CW just to see what it's like, to see if that show has improved since the last time I saw it. Because I think everybody deserves chances. Look, I gave up on Impact several times, but I always end up coming back. And right now I'm really glad that I did, because since I've been watching, full time essentially since 2018, since Scott D'Amore has taken over, I've been, happy more often than not with the product. So I'm going to definitely give NWA on CW a chance. to see what they're made of and to maybe even add them, an hour. They're probably like 40 minutes, 40-minute episodes. I'm willing to give that a shot every now and then. But if Impact brings in a CM Punk, Matt Riddle, a Dolph Ziggler, Will Ospreay is probably going to be too expensive, but Mustafa Ali, all these guys, maybe get some paper on Matt Cardona. Now you're looking at, it's like, wow, they got a hell of a roster, right? Not just in the ring talent wise, but star power wise. You're looking at like, wow, we got something going here. Maybe we upgrade this TV deal. Maybe we start selling 40, 50, 60, 70,000 pay-per-views, right? Or maybe we just stick with access and we just work on getting access to more homes. I don't, there's lots of ways you can go there. Hold on. Oh, sorry, another big swig of coffee. So we got that. We got all that news. Steele coming in. He'll be there tonight. The other name that was kind of interesting, and I'm going to go ahead and shoot this down. I don't want to be a dream killer, but Will Ospreay did an interview with Sports Illustrated talking about his upcoming free agency in February of 2024. And he, talked about WWE, New Japan. He's still in negotiations. AEW, of course, he's been working with. He said now he's looking to prove himself in Impact, and he said they are definitely in the running to sign him in 2024. I'm just here to tell you guys they're not in the running. This is a 2-horse race. This is WWE and AEW. WWE and AEW have the most money. There's no way in hell Impact is going to outspend either one of those companies for what is going to be a transcendent star for either one. I really think that once if WWE signs Ospreay, and I think there's a real possibility of that. I really do. I think they're now with Vince kind of out of the way, and with Hunter and Nick Khan running the show, and Hunter really wanting to, make NXT Europe a thing. And I think that they can, I think they're willing to make certain concessions for a star like Will Ospreay that they would not have been willing to make before. Ospreay really wants to stay living in the UK. They can make him the face of their UK brand while still bringing him into the main roster, kind of like the way that they did with Gunther for a while. And I absolutely see that as a real possibility. And WWE has the most money. And it would not shock me at all to see him go to WWE. Now, I was all in on AEW because he got that big victory over Omega earlier this year on AEW pay-per-view at the Forbidden Door show. So I was all in. I was like, I don't think AEW would have done that if they didn't have at least a verbal agreement that he was going to be signing there. Because AEW does not like to have their stars lose to other companies. We saw that when Impact was working with them. It was like, I think the Impact was like 1-9 versus AEW. We got the one victory, and that was Josh Alexander versus Christian Cage. But so I really thought that, but verbal agreement when you're already under contract to another company means absolutely dick. Ultimately, I think Will Ospreay, as he gets ready to turn 30, he's going to want to be a multi-millionaire, and he's going to want to have certain freedoms. And, he's been working an angle with Seth Rollins on Twitter for years. I think it's a very real possibility that he goes there. AEW obviously would be, right there. Impact would be probably a distant fourth behind New Japan. Now, if New Japan and Impact could get together, pull their heads together and, work out like a big time deal, maybe, but I just don't see it. I really don't. And that's not a knock on Impact. They just don't have the resources that WWE or AEW has at this point. I know Lynn Esper is a billionaire. Yeah, but he doesn't look at how much they're spending on Impact. They're not re-signing PCO because PCO wants a raise, right? They're not re-signing Sami Callihan because he wanted a raise, right? And he's probably not making that much money. So Nick Aldis left Impact to take essentially a producer gig with WWE because a producer gig with WWE pays you more than being an upper mid card / main event talent at Impact. That's just the reality of the situation. The reason why I think there's a possibility to get CM Punk, a small possibility, is because he ain't got any other options. But if a guy's got a ton of options out there, like a Will Ospreay, and the main two options being the powerhouses at AEW and WWE, I just don't think that there's that real of a possibility that he'll be there. But let's go ahead and get into. And real quick before I get started, Impact this week 77,000 viewers on Access TV, the first run show. That's been their lowest in a long time. And they're weak, so they went from 126 down to lower 100,000, down to like 97,000, and then boom, they bottomed back out at 77,000. So the hype around CM Punk has not affected TV ratings, that's for damn sure. So but that's I mean, I can't, there's no other way to say it. That's a real disappointing number for them, especially heading into their biggest pay-per-view of the year. You'd want to have a good number heading into pay-per-view, but we'll see how much that will affect the actual buying audience. I'm going to be curious to see how this does. Let's go. I'm going to do a real quick recap of the episode this week, which I thought was a pretty darn good episode. I did really enjoy the episode. So this is a report from our buddy Josiah at the Wrestling Observer newsletter. So we have the pre-show. He put BFI pre-show. Thank you, Josiah, but it's the BTI pre-show. George Iceman, in a room echoed like a cave, told us that Bound for Glory may have a surprise guest showing up. So what he stated was that the flights have been booked, hotels, travel arrangements have been made, hotels have been booked. All of that would lead me to believe that he's not talking about CM Punk. So, and as we get into the Bound for Glory preview, I will talk about possible surprises that we could see. And then we got Kylan King defeating Jody Threat. You know what? I for them to put this on the BTI, I don't know. It feels like a waste, but I like those two. And that was Talking BTI. Thank you, folks. Thank you for talking BTI with us. All right, now we get to the main show. We had super long slow motion video recap of the week before, and then we get into Mike Bailey defeating Samurai Del Sol. Samurai Del Sol is a luchador, and you know what luchadors do in Impact Wrestling? They fucking lose. And we're 0-1 so far tonight, and it's not looking good for the next luchador that's coming up later in the evening. But but we do have this big Lucha Libre celebration where probably they're all going to lose, or that might be the one time this year the luchadors get to win a match on Impact Wrestling. Probably because they actually they're wrestling Americans. So let's see if they'll actually get a win over an American. The only time they get wins is when they wrestle each other. But Mike Bailey defeated Samurai Del Sol, and it was a very good match. Bailey gets a little bit of momentum heading into Bound for Glory against Will Ospreay. And he didn't really talk too much about Gresham, so that was good. I would not have had him lose a single match heading into the match with Ospreay, but that's me. I like to build people up into big matches, but Impact likes them to just backpedal their way into it. And he defeated a guy that's never won on Impact, so congratulations, I guess there. But that's probably just me, having sports brain, and Impact doesn't. Maybe they should understand sports and how having momentum is important. Right. And being a winner and having two guys who are on win streaks wrestle on pay-per-view is probably more important than a guy who's going 50-50 on TV and beats up a Lucha Libre jobber on your television. But I don't know. That's just me. I mean, the match is going to be awesome. So, it's whatever. But this match was really good. And then we got Dango. He was with Oleg and Alpha Bravo, and they briefly buried the Flying Elvises, only getting a Sonny Siaki correct as a member while confusing the other two with a 3 count from WCW. He then asked how anyone could get a dancing gimmick over. That's pretty funny. Dango claimed that Oleg Prudius, beat up John Wick, and that Alpha Bravo would dive on a grenade for his comrades. That is true. Oleg did beat up John Wick in the John Wick movies. So Impact legit has a movie star in their company, and hopefully they do something with it. But he's actually a guy that could get them some attention. ABC were backstage, and they claimed that the Rascals were using 5Ds, the dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge from Dodgeball, of course, but that they couldn't run at Bound for Glory when they cash in their title shot. Then we got Kenny King defeating Heath. this is fine. Heath, I believe his contract is up at the end of this month too. I don't think we're going to be seeing him back in Impact. Um, I mean, I guess it wouldn't surprise me for him to come back, but I just don't see. He has a little bit of value whenever they're in these towns. Some people will show up just to see a guy who used to be on WWE. He gets the crowd fired up. He's a nice little baby face. But him taking the L here to Kenny King kind of, I feel like, was pretty final. I think it spells the end of Heath in Impact Wrestling. Kazarian was backstage after his match last week with Eddie Edwards, and he said that he had never hated Edwards, but that they were actually brothers trained by the same man. And he said that now Eddie Edwards has to respect him, and they're going to take Impact Wrestling to new heights. I told you guys last week after that match was over that I felt like these two guys should be a tag team. And everything that he said right here makes me believe that these two guys are going to become a tag team. Maybe not a full-time tag team, but an alliance of some sort. And I feel like it's long overdue for Frankie Kazarian to go heel. He's a great heel. He really is. He's a good babyface, but he's a great heel. He's kind of a dick in a good way. So I think I would like to see that. I would like to see these guys to be a couple grizzled veteran heel tag team. I'm guessing that the ABC wins at Bound for Glory, which I'll get to in a little bit. I would like to see these two guys, Eddie and Frankie, beat the shit out of those two kids, bloody them up, take their titles, and then start a feud. I think that would be great. And Black Taurus is in the next match, and he's a luchador, so you know what that means. He fucking lost. He lost to Crazy Steve in a no DQ match. They're building up Crazy Steve and Tommy Dreamer for the Bound for Glory Fallout show. So thankfully, when they have the eyes of the world will be on them at Bound for Glory, they are not going to subject them to a Tommy Dreamer match. So that's good. I like Crazy Steve's new character. I know some of you guys don't. I don't give a fuck. Hold on. Swig of coffee for the work, man. I like the mask. I like this whole thing. Steve is great. And I thought this was a pretty damn good match, and so did Josiah. And then we got a set of short promos, kind of like the old Royal Rumble promos back in the day, building up the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I really liked that, so that was good stuff. And then Miller was backstage with Mickey and Trinity, and they're just two best friends that can't wait to wrestle and have a great professional wrestling match. I am a fan of Heat, but it's whatever. And next we go to Moose and Myers defeating Rhino and PCO. PCO took the L here. This brother's on his way out. I think PW Insider reported earlier this week that he's finishing up with Impact this weekend. I get the feeling he's going to lose in that Monsters Ball match. But this match was okay. This match was fine. Something did happen here towards the end. Let's go ahead and go to the report. Moose made the save and cussed at PCO, and PCO hit a cactus clothesline to the floor. And then he hit an inverted DDT on Myers and called for a moonsault, but Moose pulled Myers out of the way. Moose checked on Myers, but ate a belly-to-belly suplex before calling for a gore. Rhino went for a gore, but Steve Macklin pulled him from the ring and smashed Rhino into the ring post. Macklin went to hit a move on Rhino, but Bully Ray ran down and made the save. PCO then hit a cannonball dive on Macklin, but ate a spear in the ring from Moose for the win. So, yeah, PCO taking L's here. They are building the Monsters Ball match. And then, of course, they still got the backstory of Bully Ray and Steve Macklin. Macklin calling Bully Ray soft. And now here's Bully Ray trying to protect Rhino because you can never get enough ECW storylines in 2023, folks. And then we go backstage. MK Ultra promised to destroy Perazo and Steele's at Bound for Glory. Thank you for that. Excellent hype video aired for Will Ospreay and Mike Bailey. Finally, we got a hype video. Highlight show to Walter Pyramid in California where New Japan had run some shows. And I think that would be a cool venue for Impact to run a pay-per-view from someday. Yes, I think that would be cool. Good suggestion, Josiah. Then Rhino met Ray backstage and said he didn't trust him and didn't need his help. I think they did the same storyline last year when Bully first came back. But and then we go to a promo segment with Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander, and they're being moderated by Scott D'Amore. And this was one of the most effective things that they've ever done to build a match for a pay-per-view. It was fantastic. It was great. Alex Shelley is starting to go into a psychotic break. He's slowly turning heel, and he's fucking great at it. This was tremendous. I loved this so much. And for his part, I think Josh Alexander did a great job too. And Scott D'Amore was pretty effective in the segment. Ultimately, you know, Scott D'Amore or Josh Alexander told Shelley that, you keep talking about being a transitional champion because deep down inside, you're a transitional champion and you're just going to give that belt right back to me, which caused Shelley to go crazy. He walked off the set, and the next thing you know, they cut the commercial, they come right back, and Shelley had gone into the room where Alexander was cutting his promo, and they got into a big fight, and Scott D'Amore had to break it up. It was just awesome. It was great. I loved it. Just tremendous stuff. And then we go to the main event. Trinity and Mickie James defeated Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans with a Jay Vidal. Not much here. They won the match. That was fine. But the end of the show saw Mickie James and Trinity kind of both holding on to the title as the show goes off the air, and so that was kind of like the lasting impression. So I thought this was a pretty good episode. I thought it was a pretty effective go-home show. No crazy hot angles other than the Josh Alexander and Alex Shelley thing, but even then, that was just a really, really good and effective angle. But I'm pretty, I left the episode excited for Bound for Glory. And then I went on YouTube afterwards, and they actually put up a 20-minute preview of Josh Alexander versus Alex Shelley called Before the Bell. And that YouTube video that they put together was far more effective than anything they did on television tonight. Even the great angle that they shot on television, I actually thought this was much better. And it was like a documentary style thing. I really wish they would just put these on Access. I know they don't want to get too heavy on having Impact all over Access, even though they own the company. But I really felt like this should have been something that they put on Access, maybe like before Impact. I know you don't want to do it after because you got Josh Alexander. Or maybe they should just air. They should have aired it Friday night. Like something like. I feel like they have the network and they got YouTube, and they should be putting on their Impact Wrestling channel on Pluto. Like it was so well done. It should be everywhere. You want to get as many people as possible to watch this thing. So that was it for the Impact show. I really enjoyed it, especially the opening match, and then of course the Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander angle that they shot there. All right, now let's get to Bound for Glory. We got on tap for Bound for Glory. We got the Impact Hall of Fame ceremony for Tracy Brooks, Mike Tenay, and Don West. Obviously, that's going to be great with Tracy, but it's going to be super emotional for a lot of us that spent a lot of our time watching and listening to Mike Tenay and Don West. And obviously, we lost Don West to cancer recently. Now, this is the first time Mike Tenay is going to be on Impact TV in a long, long time. There is currently a kind of a Twitter rally to get Mike Tenay to call the main event. And I think they should do it. And honestly, like if I'm making a prediction about what exactly Dave Penzer was talking about on Twitter about getting your tissue and your tears and all that stuff, I hope that that's what he's talking about. Because if so, that's going to be huge. Having Tenay with Tom Hannafin and Matt Raywalt on commentary for the main event. I would love that. That would just warm my heart to be able to hear his voice calling one more main event in Impact. That would be tremendous. Then we got the Knockouts World Tag Team Championship, MK Ultra versus Tasha Steele and Deonna Purrazzo. I don't think Purrazzo's sticking around much longer, so I'm going to go MK Ultra on that one. Should be a pretty good match. I think Tasha Steele is she has improved since she's been back. Her first match that she had was not very good, but the second match I thought was pretty damn good. So I'm gonna go MK Ultra here, but I mean, look, it wouldn't surprise me if Steele and Purrazzo got the titles, and then Purrazzo dropped the titles on her way out. And then next we go to not the main event, but one of the big reasons why people who don't typically watch Impact will be buying this pay-per-view. It's got Will Ospreay from New Japan Pro Wrestling coming into town to face Speedball Mike Bailey. Now, this match is here to do one thing, and one thing only. Besides, sell pay-per-views and tickets, which they did they did a good amount of tickets. This is Impact's attempt to get a 5-star match from Dave Meltzer. And Dave Meltzer has taken notice. He has stated he's going to be watching. He typically watches them all, but sometimes he doesn't even rate Impact pay-per-views because he doesn't watch them until so much later. So a lot of times in the newsletter, you don't even get a star rating for Impact matches. But Will Ospreay's his guy, and he's definitely going to be watching at least this match. And I am predicting that this will be a 5-star match. I think these two guys are going to be given the time, going to be given the direction to get 5 stars from Dave, and they're going to go get it. And that's going to be a great thing for these two guys. And it'd be, look, as much as you say that you don't care that Dave has ever given a 5-star match to Impact, and Dave hates Impact and yada, well, whatever. You're going to be going around telling everybody, oh yeah, well, we got a 5-star match on. People are going to be bragging about that. Impact Wrestling fans are going to be talking about it. So, and now if he doesn't, if this match is anything in and around 4 stars, everybody's going to say it was 5 stars anyway, or 6. So, and then if he doesn't give it to him, it's because he was an Impact. Like, he's got to take extra points off because he was an Impact. That's going to be the talk. So I'm very much looking forward to the banter there. Next, we got the Impact World Tag Team Championship. We got the Rascals versus the ABC. I don't know that I'm ready for the Rascals to lose these titles, but I think we got to conclude this feud a little bit, or get another match out of it. So I'm going to pick ABC, but I'm not very confident in that. Just because I happen to like the Rascals as the tag team champions. I think they're doing a great job, but this is 4 of Impact's premier young talent. I think that I think this is going to be this is their Midnight versus Rock and Roll Express, right? This is what they got. This is their, Generation Me versus the Motor City Machine Guns, right? This is their version of that, and I'm very much looking forward to it. These are awesome talents, and I just hope that they're, given the time and respect to be able to go out there and do their thing. Next, we got the Monsters Ball, Moose versus PCO versus Rhino versus Macklin. Booking logic will tell you that since Moose is lined up for a title shot, that he should be winning here. But Impact doesn't do booking logic. In fact, they have all of their stars losing their way into big time matches. So I think Steve Macklin pins PCO here. I think Macklin gets the win over PCO. And Moose will still get his title shot because he's got the briefcase. I think they're going to have that as an excuse. They're not going to give him a ton of momentum. He has the briefcase, and so that they're just going to use that. So that's a modern wrestling booking logic from Impact. X Division Championship, Chris Sabin versus Kenta. Will Ospreay's coming in to beat Mike Bailey's ass. I don't think I actually gave an official prediction on that match, but Ospreay's clearly winning it. X Division title match, Sabin versus Kenta. I think Sabin takes this one. I don't see Kenta winning this match. I could be wrong. I don't think that I am, because and I'm going to give you my reasons why when we get to the main event. But I think this will be a good match. Kenta has lost several steps. He kind of does a gimmick, but when he was in Impact earlier this year and he wrestled Josh Alexander, I felt like he was really good. So maybe he'll turn it on here for Impact. Knockouts World Championship, Trinity versus Mickie James, and I'm gonna go with Trinity here. This match should be good. Probably 3 stars from Dave if Dave ends up watching it. They're gonna really try their best here, and I think they're gonna have a pretty good match. I just don't see Trinity losing that title anytime soon. Not to Mickie. The Call Your Shot Gauntlet. This one's going to be interesting because this is where the surprises typically happen. And I've been given a list of potential surprises, and I'm going to run through some of the not from any like source. I don't have sources or scoops or anything like that. Nothing significant, but I think I don't really have a good idea as to exactly who any of the surprises could be. But let's recap some of the surprises from years past, right? Because it could be a wide variety. Swoggle was a surprise twice. Okay, so expectation management. James Storm was a surprise in, I believe, pandemic year 2020. I think Swoggle was 19 and 20. 2019, we also had Kylie Ray as a surprise. 2021, we had Rocky Romero come in as a surprise. And that was also the year that we had the Kiss Demon as a surprise. And I think at one point Taylor Wilde was a surprise, but she was already signed to the company. She just left for a while and come back. So it's hard to call that a surprise. Daivari was a surprise one year. I think that might have been during the pandemic year. I'm sure if I'm remembering correctly. And then of course last year, Bully Ray was the big surprise. So expectation management. That's what we're looking at. That's like those level of surprises. If you think CM Punk's coming into this company, he's not coming into this match. I just don't see it. Call Your Shot Gauntlet is a good little gimmick for Bound for Glory, but it's not really what they sell tickets for. You know what I mean? It's not really a ticket mover. It's not the Royal Rumble. When people say it's their version of the Royal Rumble, it's a Royal Rumble style match, but it's not their version of the Royal Rumble, where the Royal Rumble actually is the event. They build everything around that match. This is just a match on Bound for Glory that they're doing now, and it's been a tradition since 2019. And so I don't see crazy big level surprises happening here. Dabba-Kato was a name being tossed around by some people just out there because he was on an NXT deal and he would be available. So maybe an NXT guy. I don't know. I could see Impact being interested in a guy like Dabba-Kato though. Absolutely. Mandy Rose was the name being tossed around. And remember, look, I just said Kylie Ray, right? She come in and was a surprise one year in 2019. So females have to be added to this list, right? So you're looking at maybe a Mandy Rose. BQ is kind of convinced that there's a possibility that Brie Bella might make her Impact debut. I love BQ. I think that's wishful thinking. I think he's a big fan of Total Divas, and so I think he would really like to see that. I don't see that one happening though. I just don't. But that's a name that's like free of a contract and that is available to be there. Here's my official prediction for the Impact Wrestling Call Your Shot Gauntlet surprise. Ace Steele. He's already there. He's going to be a producer. They got to bring him in. He doesn't have to be in the match long, but bring him in. He's from Chicago and he's got to bite somebody. You got to just fucking lean into it. It would be epic. It would be the coolest thing to have him come in there and fucking bite somebody on the arm and toss him out of the ring. And then he takes a boot to the face and someone tosses him out. But it's got to happen. Like, you have the joke right there. You want to get people talking? You want to get people like thinking you're awesome? Do awesome shit. Have Ace Steele come in and bite somebody. It's as ridiculous as it sounds. You gotta have him bite somebody. I think that would be fucking cool. So that's my official prediction for Call Your Shot. I think we'll have like one female surprise. Melina was a surprise one year. So somebody like that level. I'm thinking maybe Ace Steele gets in on this deal. I just don't see, a possibility of, Devon, maybe Devon does want to make a comeback. So maybe do something like that. That I think that could happen, but I just don't see any like big time names being a surprise for this. In fact, I think Rocky Romero is a legit possibility for this one. He's done it before. He's all over CMLL. He's all over New Japan. He's all over AEW. Might as well bring him in here too again. He's been in and out of Impact for a long time. Actually, he was just on MLW. I think he's an MLW like bumfuck champion or something like that. So, but official prediction for the Call Your Shot Gauntlet winner, I'm going Jake something. I think they're trying to build this guy. They are really leaning into him being the number one and burning through all the competitors and being the last man standing at number 20. So, and that's my official prediction. And I think that, it's been a couple years since we've had like a true babyface win that. I think Eddie was the last babyface that won it. So I think I like that. Okay, now for the Impact World Championship, we got the main event. We got Alex Shelley versus Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander never lost the title. He vacated due to injury. Alex Shelley ultimately defeated Steve Macklin, who won the vacated world title. Alex Shelley's winning this match, guys. That's my official prediction. I don't think it's time to take it off of him. I think he's doing some of the best work of his career, not just in the ring. I'm just like character work, promo work, and not even like his building up a match promo, like just his character work. Him going into his psychotic break. I think we're gonna get a heel turn here with Alex Shelley. He's gonna turn heel and he's gonna retain this title, and it's gonna be an awesome, awesome match. What I don't want is a screw job finish, but I would like to him use heel tactics throughout the match, signifying that he's a heel. But I don't want to see ref bump and low blow with a roll up, typical dog shit. I don't want to see that. But they're gonna have to do it to where he's clearly a heel and he retains the title. Okay. So that's my official prediction. And especially because they on the books, it looks like there's going to be a rematch coming up with Tanahashi. So I think we got to do that. Get that rematch with Tanahashi, and then as my buddy Dre has correctly pointed out, Tanahashi, we need to put the belt on him. That has not died. I'm not giving up on that. No matter how much you guys want me to move on, I'm not. Put the fucking belt on Tana. I'm just kidding, guys. All right. So Bound for Glory is going to be a big, big show. I'm going to try my very best to go live after the show tonight. It's going to be live for everybody. What I just recorded right now is just for Patreon. So I honestly, I could clip the preview. I don't think it's going to do well on YouTube, so I feel like it'll be a waste. So this is just for you guys. So, but afterwards, I'm going to go on. I'm going to try my best. I am on standby for work right now. So at any end, there's a possibility, like a very real possibility, I could get called into duty tonight at some point, maybe during the show, maybe after. So that could put a damper on things, but I'm going to actually but my goal right now and my plan is to go live immediately after Bound for Glory is over and take your calls. I want to bring in the audience. I'm going to do like I did on Thursday night. I'm going to put the link in the comment section, and then also put the link out on Twitter, and then people can come in and have their say about Impact Bound for Glory. So thank you guys for being a subscriber. I really appreciate it. Tell your friends to subscribe. We got to get these rookie numbers up. And that's going to do it for me. And until next time, mahalo.